All right, we got one. We got the contactor pulled in, but it's not running. So let's see what the problem is. All right, so our contactor is pulled in. Let's go between, we have voltage there. Let's go across the top of the contactor. Okay, we have no voltage there, so we have a bad contactor. All right, let's get a new contactor in this thing. All right, this is the contactor we're using. This is actually a factory genuine part from Carrier. I had it on the truck, 1.5 pole contactor. 30 amps. Oh, I'm sorry, 40 amps. All right, we'll get the old one off, put the new one in. All right, we got our new contactor installed. It is pulled in because I never turned off the thermostat. I just carefully disconnected my coil wires. Let's take a look at this guy. Yeah, I don't know if you can see in there. It's burnt up. It probably looks like it melted a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty burnt up in there. See that? That's where it failed at. You couldn't make a connection there anymore. Just for shoots and giggles, let's see what the resistance is. Because this was still pulling in. It was still pulling in, but I'm curious what the resistance is. We have nothing, no resistance at all. Wow, okay. Just like to check the stuff out. But all right, we're about to restore power and get this thing started up. Here we go. Lift off. Let's check an amp draw. That's our condenser fan. And our compressor. Let it run a few minutes to stabilize. Might throw the gauges on her and see what she's doing. This does have a sight glass on it, but it's pretty clouded over. I do see some movement in there though. We'll let it run a few minutes and see what it does. All right, still running. What is this unit? This is a Payne, some sort of Carrier or ICP product. Yep, it's a Payne. You can tell by the model, product number. Usually when it starts with a P, it's a Payne. 2006. Hope it's not low on charge. I'm still waiting for my probes to stabilize. It was hard to get the suction line one because I had to cut into this and then sand it down because the Armaflex had actually adhered to the line set, but putting that on there to keep the sun off of it. But looks like this unit wants 10 degrees of indoor TXV subcooling, and we are dead on. This unit is probably perfectly charged. Once this stabilizes, I'm sure we are going to be perfectly charged. Subcooling came down a little bit, but man, this thing looks dead on. This thing is charged beautifully. All right, I'm about to pack this one up. Same house, but around the other side. This star capacitor's seen better days. Probably gonna take that out and put a hard start kit in. Yeah, I don't trust that at all. On second thought, it's not even hooked up. The potential relay's not hooked up. Huh. Well, I'm just gonna pull that out of there then. Well, this capacitor is supposed to read 40 microfarads and it's down to 26. So that's coming out and getting replaced. All right, new 40/5 here. Let's go in there and replace it. It's underneath this tree. It's actually quite pleasant. All right, new cap installed with our rating facing out, and so we can see it. Start it back up. This unit seems like it started very nicely. I don't know why someone put that start assist on it, because it was not factory installed. Let's grab an amp draw. 5.3, not bad. All right, our next call is a pretty easy one. Supply all labor and material to replace defective capacitors in outdoor units 1, 3, 4, and 5. Found defective during the recent preventive maintenance. Make all necessary connections and verify proper operation. So, it sounds like we got an easy one coming up. I just finished a call where I had to replace the thermopile on a gas fryer. It didn't fix it though, the gas valve's bad. So the customer is on the fence about getting a new gas valve, which is very expensive for a millivolt style gas valve. They're like $350 cost. So it would cost him even more than that for me to sell it to him. So this is a restaurant though. He's a pretty good friend of the company. So I don't mind giving him links to Parts Town and places like that so he can order his own stuff. But still, so he's kind of on the fence on putting a gas valve in it or replacing the fryer. I told him, I said, look, I could probably swap the fryer out faster than I can do a gas valve. I mean, because there's a good amount of work involved with putting a gas valve in. So a fryer, pull it out, undo the gas connection, slide the new one in, slide the gas connection on. As long as it's and it is natural, so I don't have to convert it to propane. So pretty easy job, but I wasn't able to get any shots of that. I was kind of rammed in there where it was at, and the owner was kind of talking to me the whole time, so I didn't get any shots of that. But very greasy too. We don't do a whole lot of food service, and for good reason, because it's not great work. Like I said, this guy's a friend of the company, so I didn't mind. So we don't mind doing stuff like that for him, but. All right, let's head on to this next one and replace these capacitors. All right, so we're basically replacing the capacitors on all these units. 1, 2, not that guy, this one. And then on the other side of the building here is another one. So we'll start with the lone one over here first. And get these capacitors knocked out. Got a whole bag of them. Nice little scenery, got the Wacomico River right at this building. All right, first one up, we got a massive 70/7.5. Let's pull her out of there and get her replaced. All right, got the first one down. I don't know if I like how wiggly that is, but it sits all the way on the base of the control panel, so I'm not real that concerned about it. The contactor just pulled in. Bam, she's off and running, one down. All right, next up we got old sideways 60/5. Let's get her out of there and replace it. I'm not checking the ratings on any of these because a PM was done and the PM guy said these were bad, so we got approval to replace them all, so that's what we're doing. Not gonna waste any time checking ratings on these. All right, had to do a piece of band iron on this one because this was way too big. So went ahead and put a piece of band iron on that one and got that one back straightened out. Contactor pulled in on this one too. We're about to see how this one takes off. Nice. All right, next up, 45.5. All right, this one's not calling, so we're just gonna go ahead and, we got the capacitor in. Remember, ratings are showing, so the next guy doesn't have to take the band off. Just push this contactor in. Oh yeah, she's working. Let's move on. All right, last but certainly not least, we have a 45/7.5. She's a right fat one. I'll probably have to use band iron on this one because my new one is not going to be that big. So let's get that one off there and put a new one on. All right, 45/7.5 is in there. Let's see if it works. Contactor's not pulled in anymore. Isn't that weird? It's pulled in. It was pulled in when I turned it off, and it satisfied while it was off. It works. Cool. 4 capacitors knocked right out. Guys, we're out here changing more parts. That's all I've been doing all day is just changing parts. I got more parts to change. We got a contactor to change on this guy and a capacitor to change on the one down yonder. Let's get going. This 45.5's coming out. It's out of range. Oh, I'm sorry. No. This one has the contactor that's coming out. Yeah, she does look a little charred up. So this one's got the contactor that's coming out. The one down yonder's got the capacitor. All right, let's get going. All right, got the contactor replaced, one down. Let's plug this thing back in. All right, we'll push, well, we can't push the contactor in, but we will jump the contactor out because I don't want to take this off right now because I'm being lazy. So what we're going to do, we're going to open this wire nut up and we're going to jump from R to yellow. R to contactor, really, just to make sure it comes on. Yes, sir. All right. Put that back on, then we'll move on. All right, looks like a 45.5. We're gonna pull out of here and change today. Man, I have done a lot of parts changing today. All right, that capacitor's changed out now. I think I got one more contactor to replace today. Well, at least on this call, and then we'll see what else we got. All right, and last but certainly not least, this contactor's coming up out of there and getting a new one. All right, I'm going to show you guys something, a little trick that I do. With these contactors here, they don't accept the spade terminal like these do. You see, that spade terminal goes around that screw there. Right there. That's this right here. Bam. These contactors don't have that. That screw fills up that whole hole, so the wire's supposed to go behind it. So what you can do is you can cut this off and then strip the wire back to have just bare wire there. But what I do is I actually just cut the fork off of it, and then you still have the crimped piece here, just like this guy. So you don't have to strip back the wire. You have a good solid lug, a good solid connector to tighten down on. And you don't have to strip the wire back. So you save some wire too. So that's what I do. So I just take a a cutter. In this case, I just got my needle nose right here. And then you just bury it just like that, and just cut that right off there. And then that, and we're gonna loosen this guy up. Then this slides right down in there, good and tight, and then you can tighten that down. This side too. See, slides down in there good and tight. Then you tighten your lug down, and you got a good, firm, solid connection there. So this one wants to pop back out on me, but you see, you get the point. So just a little trick that I do.